Okay, recording this video after close trade Monday, 23rd July 2012. Well, what a day. Well, more like 24 hours. We had a huge sell-off that started off out of Europe. Bad news out of Europe. Kind of the wheels are falling off over there. And we ended up kind of selling off 20 points before opening on Monday morning. Then we kind of continued that kind of sell-off a little bit. And then had a pretty big bounce into the rest of the day, about 15-16 points kind of bounce. Only about 1.7 million contracts traded. You can see that the trend oscillators had switched over after Friday's activity, kind of switched into a downtrend, which is kind of good. And on the daily charts, you can see what we're making here. This is the continuous contract day and night. This is just, I've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. To me, this just looks like a complex correction on the way up. So we've had a trend move here that kind of finished off with exhaustion buying, bearish divergence, and a flush pattern into pullback to end of trend. So that's a nice kind of sequence, testing back up into that complex correction, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance that went off on Thursday's activity, and then this kind of sell-off. So at some point we're kind of going to break out of this congestion zone, and to me it seems like the news is bad enough that this will be kind of the trigger for it. Although it wasn't like a 3% down day. It kind of ended up being down 2% and then recovered back up 1%. So and where we recovered was bang on the bottom trend line here. So the last time we tried to make it through here, you can see we broke through this trend line, and I was kind of all bearish, thinking this was the end of the world. Bang, it's gonna, no, we were kind of rallied back. We poked our nose through the upper trend line there, and we came back in with Friday's activity into the congestion zone with that white bar, and then today's activity sold off and hit the bottom of this trend line. So this is the line in the sand, kind of down here on better X trend here. You can see here's the trailing stop, 1320 kind of here, and a couple of kind of sell-off bars here. We tend to have a little bit of a bounce from here, but let's see. The bottom did hold today, so we could have a little bit of strength tomorrow, the next day maybe. Let's see. I don't think it's going to be I can't imagine people like jumping into equities saying, yeah, this is a great time to buy with all the uncertainty, but someone wanted to stop it here, and so kind of a little bit of a weak bounce potentially, and then kind of coming through here. But better X trends, kind of the line in the sand is kind of around today's low, or the low of a few days ago, 1320. In terms of the euro, I mean, again, people just this wanted to break, and it just didn't do it. Just kind of bounced again off there. Kind of conscious that we're making these kind of divergence type patterns. It's trying to hold, but on the weekly charts, monthly charts, we're kind of below support. At some point, we'll lose confidence. Something will happen, and surely it will kind of drop through. Same thing on dollar index. You can see, with today's activity, it was a spike up through and then coming back down, and we got all these flush patterns kind of going on here. So the buyers have tried to get it through, but at the moment it's just not kind of broken. So I have to wait and see. 13,500 nicely marked the top of the move. So this is Monday's activities, Friday's and Thursday's activity. So pull back to end of trend after exhaustion buying, bearish divergence, and a flush pattern. Pull back to end of trend there. Kind of classic move. The first time into this Rambo patterns, then the professionals kind of come in. One last kind of bite at the cherry. You see all the professionals, they're active at the end of the Thursday there. Friday, a little bit of a nothing day. We kind of drift down, and then this is the sell-off. We open on Sunday evening and just kind of let loose. It's kind of interesting pattern here. This is a short covering rally at this point here, and then people trying to sell it short, and I was actually in that move trying to take a short trade there, and it didn't work out. I have to reverse and go long, which is kind of interesting, that kind of activity there. Then we kind of made pullback, Rambo patterns, blue professional bars kind of coming in here. But it's interesting, there was all that professional activity at the middle of the day holding it basically. So in terms of 40,500 tip bar chart, yeah, we've kind of made this rolling over pattern after flush patterns, bearish divergence. Here's one of these bullish and bearish divergence signals right on the zero line, which often signals a break into a trend move. And we're kind of breaking down, found support here on the 40,500, but no exhaustion selling on the downside. So this 20% move that happened essentially before the open was basically caught. We kind of rallied back up, so some people thought it was kind of good buying kind of down here, but we've not seen an exhaustion selling move on the downside. And this pattern is just a little bit odd on 13,500. People wanted to sell it, but it didn't go. So still happy with this kind of activity. I still think kind of we've got potential of a big break into a downtrend move, but it wasn't all kind of plain sailing today. In terms of my trading, I mean, I was lucky enough to be awake to see this sell-off. So I took 2 short trades during this overnight session from the Sunday evening into Monday's open. So I got a 4-point and then a 2-point trade. Stupidly, my 2 points, the second trade I took here, I got out at this end of trend after this little amateur bar just for 2 points on the way down, trying to get this pullback to end of trend. Of course, then as soon as I got up, literally again a minute after I get out, the thing just continues to tank, and there was another easy 4 points in it there. So it's kind of kicking myself. And then I was just waiting for a setup for the resistance line to kind of come in on the 1500 tip bar chart. Tried to get short at this. Well, I did get short, but it only worked out for 1 point. I was hoping this is kind of short covering volume here at this point, and I was hoping that we'd break the lows and it would turn into a nice kind of 4-point trade, but only took out 1. My best trade probably was the reversal trade. After pullback to end of trend here, we had blue professional bars, so amateur down bars. So this kind of bottom is made with exhaustion selling, bullish divergence kind of comes in, short covering rally, and that explains this kind of exhaustion volume. We come back in to test. We've got all of these bullish divergence signals kind of go off here, end of trend goes off, we got an amateur down bar, and then the professionals kind of come in on the next spike, and that blue professional bar holds, and we break the high of that. So that was the signal to kind of get in long. On the 500 tip bar chart, let me try and show you this activity. So on the way down here, we kind of broken all kinds of supports, but this move down into that low was a complex correction. Again, on the way down, so you can see support, resistance, nice little kind of neat little pattern there. The professionals had been in this level before, 32, a whole bunch of blue professional bars there. We come in, Rambo pattern this time, then the blue professional bars kind of come in at this point. We had a little bit of a spike down. As soon as the high of that bar was taken off, bang, we run into an uptrend. So I was long 33.25, which was just at this point here at that, as that blue professional bar kind of came in, and it was basically being signaled off this end of trend, which is kind of a classic turning signal after bullish divergence gone off. And then it just ran away into a nice move. I took my 4 points out of this move, but it did kind of keep going, eventually kind of breaking up to new highs on the 1500 tip bar chart. Where was I out? 37.25. So no particular pro signal exit or anything like that. In fact, the next time that the professionals kind of come in force is up here, up in the 40s. But I'm always kind of getting out too early. So anyway, nice days trading kind of big ranges and so on, but someone wanted to hold this. They didn't want the euro to break 120. They didn't want the dollar index to kind of flip, and so we've got a line in the sand down here at the 30s that we'll see whether that kind of gets broken in the next couple of days, because we've not seen that exhaustion selling on the downside. Anyway, just going to tag on that last trade. This video is going to be a bit late, just a bit exhausted after yesterday's activity. Anyway, hope you traded it well. 33.25, long 33.25, and the reason I'm getting long, we've had exhaustion selling on the downside, bullish divergence coming in, pullback to end of trend on the 1500. This exhaustion buying is kind of a short covering rally. We've come back in to test down here at pullback to end of trend. We've had a complex correction on the way down on the 500 tip bar chart, and this last little push down was a Rambo pattern and then a blue professional spike down, and we were just breaking or holding the lows. So I need it to kind of break back up to 34, kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but let's see, just long 33.25. Here we go, 33.50. Come on, let's punch above here, and then we've got this little kind of congestion zone here above 34. So let's go for a bit of a run to the upside. Okay, here we go, just a couple of minutes later. A little bit of weakness because we come into Rambo patterns, but we just kind of held it. We're kind of now breaking through resistance on the 500, so that's good, into a little bit of a trend move. Got bullish divergence gone off on the 4500s for this kind of bottom. It's nice. So trend move will go pullback to end of trend, take us into maybe a pullback and a downtrend on the 4500 tip bar chart. So that's good. Just to stop the last video, we had this little blue professional bar, which is this kind of spike down, breaking the highs of that. So that's all good. So hopefully now we'll break above previous resistance, about 35 and a quarter. Up here we'll have some stops to run, take us into 37 and a quarter, be nice. Okay, spike down, blue professional bar's going to pick it up on the way down, so let's hope we continue through here. Okay, here we go. Just been sitting around, we've been going nowhere for a while, just sitting around this breakout resistance level on 500 tip bar chart. We've come down a little bit into support on the 500, so hopefully it'll give us a little bit of energy. Not too worried about this bearish divergence, because that one was just kind of short covering rally, so we kind of come back, so it's just kind of a lesser peak there. So still hoping for this to kind of break up above 35. This thing's at 35 and a half, so there's a whole bunch of stops to be had there, so I want to run those and kind of take me out. See, well, there we go, just popped a bunch of stops as soon as we got through 35s. Kind of Rambo patterns, isn't great. 8,000 on better momentum. Oh, here we go, still going. 37 and a quarter is the target. It's not far now. Bingo, just taken out. 37 and a quarter. Excellent, for another 4. All stops being run on the way up there, just bang, bang, bang. When it we had to sit through a whole heap of this kind of congestion around here, but then when it ran, it ran. Excellent.